And now, without further ado, I have the distinguished honor and privilege of presenting to you the Queen of Color, the Mother of Artists, globally acclaimed, award-winning master acrylic artist, and the star of our show, Ginger Cook, as she once again mesmerizes her audience with the daring do's and don'ts of painting with acrylics. Well, Ginger, hello. We're live. We are a minute, well, according to the time, we're right on time. But we were a minute early to start our intro.
Hey, everybody. Hi, John. Shout out to John and Sammy and all our friends who have been patiently waiting for us to start. And we missed everybody because we were gone last week. And we always love our live shows. And we love you guys. And we're glad you're here. And to give a shout out to who? Can we give a shout out to some friends?
Sure. You got Lori's out there, Sylvia.
Hi, Lori, Sylvia.
Susan, Barbara, Kathy.
Ooh, Barbara,
Mary,
Kathy, and
Tanya.
Susan.
Tanya looks like the only one we've got on the controls with us right now.
Okay, Tanya. And listen, Tanya, we're going to take you up if you... Yeah, Tanya's there, yeah, And
hello.
And we got that, right?
Lady Fair, Gail.
Oh, and
Peggy.
I think it was Lady Fair that was asking... It's come up, there was a question that came up on Facebook about, the gallery wrap wide canvases are apparently something that's been around the United States for a long time, and apparently they're a little harder to find in Europe. But I did see where Dick Blick, which is www.dickblick.com, does ship internationally, art supplies. Now what that means, and I don't know the shipping rates
and shipping,
duties and all that stuff. But someone, what we're talking about is the real wide gallery wrap stuff, not just the small ones. But you see how wide this edge is?
No, they can't see because we're still focused on you.
Oh, okay. Do you see how wide this edge is compared to a regular canvas? Do you see that?
Yeah.
So this is called gallery wrap, and the reason that you like, for instance, even a large canvas, like say a 30 by 40 with a gallery wrap, even though they're more money, here's the thing: you don't frame them. And if you're into selling your artwork, here's a tip, you guys. If you're into selling your artwork, people get real bitchy about the frames. Well, this is nice, but that frame has just a little bit of a scratch. Are you going to take something off? Or I would have bought that, but that gold is just the wrong gold for my house. Or, on and on it goes. So or the gallery says, well, we sell frames, so we don't like that crummy frame you put on your picture, even though you thought it was great. If we want people to buy our frames, but you have, so you'll either have to pay to have it framed or have a gallery wrap. Now the gallery wrap is the solution because somebody can frame it. It costs, the stores like it, the galleries that if you're putting your artwork in galleries, they love it because it's more expensive to frame it. If you do want to frame it, for instance, here's a little, one of our little toy, this is the Toy Store Winter Village, okay? Now, this is not designed to be framed because we've painted it on both sides, but that's not to say someone might want to just kind of put it in like a shadow box frame, that kind of thing. You just never know what people want to do. So that's my pitch. I would say that the gallery wrap is really nice, and you have the choice of either painting all the way around the sides, and so the painting that's what they call it, a wrap. Some people like to paint the sides a different color. If you're going to do that, okay, just as a caveat, if you're going to do that, if you were going to paint the sides a different color in a gallery wrap, I would tape, after the painting's really dry, tape it all the way around so you had a nice clean edge. But there's a lot of different things you can do with that, but that's why people buy them, and that's why they're more expensive. At the point where you want to sell them or have them for yourself and not want to frame them. So, all right, tonight we're really excited to announce that we're going to be painting pine trees in the snow. I see a lot of people do some very odd things with pine trees, really odd. And we've talked about this before, but I feel tonight, this is the night, you guys. This is the night when you guys are going to, those of you who maybe find it a bit more challenging and just can't paint snow or pine trees, I promise you, we're going to get to the bottom of this and really get our pine tree, so with the snow on. And I think you're going to find it's going to be a fun painting, even though this probably looks challenging. Please don't throw up your hand and say, oh, well, I'm a beginner, I couldn't paint this. Give it a try. We do small things like 8 by 10 because you don't waste a lot of paint learning how to do it. And if you don't do it perfectly the first time, just do it again. It's okay. It won't take you that long.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah, well, it does. So somebody made the comment they paint a little bit each day. There was a very, very famous art instructor out of San Francisco, one of the big whoop-de-doo colleges, art colleges out there. I won't mention names. And his feeling was that if you had a little sketchbook with you, just a little tiny kind of little note thing like that, and a pencil in your purse or your pocket, and then every day you just drew something and never signed it, and dated it, and never showed it to a soul, your perception and drawing skills would get better, and of course they will. They will. It's not a talent, it's a skill. It's like a language. I think if this myth that we've got going out here that somehow the talented ones are the painters, this is BS. The talented people, the ones with real talent, thought up the helicopter, and the guys that make them now are skilled. There's a difference? Yeah, same thing. So it's just like everybody can learn to play the piano. Some people play it better than others. Some people find it easier, but there was only a few Beethovens, right? But most people, if they could play that, would be perfectly happy. Trust me, it's the good ideas that cause creativity and talent. But a skill, painting is a language. I want to say this again and again before you throw up your hands and say, well, I can't draw a straight line. Well, you know what? When you first learned adding and subtracting, they didn't throw you into algebra either, did they, or calculus? But eventually, there's higher degrees of art. You just keep studying, and there's no end to it. This is one of the languages where there's no end. You don't reach a certain plateau and say, well, that's it. I'm the artist now. I don't have to get any better. Because every week you get better. We all get better, And particularly and one of the best ways to get better is to have other people help you. Have some outside opinions of someone that really knows, not someone that, if you show your painting to a friend and maybe you painted turnips and they hate turnips and they give you a face and it's because, it wasn't that you didn't paint the turnip well, it was just that you don't like turnips. Maybe you start to feel bad. So you got to kind of value, we're going to talk about that, kind of weigh the outside opinions you're getting from people. Not everybody is maybe well-meaning, but not always helpful. So that being said, we're going to get right into it. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, we'd love it if you would do so. John and I have discovered that on YouTube, there's sort of a norm here. About half the people that watch anything aren't subscribers to the channel they're watching. And if you guys love us, which we am sure you do because we love you, if you love us, we would really like it if you would subscribe to us and tell your friends to do so. This helps our videos get out to more people who can also love us. It's sort of a domino effect. So help push the first domino and hit that subscribe button.
There you go. I like that.
Do you like that? That sounds good.
The old domino effect.
A little domino effect, okay?
Oh, you're getting so clever.
I am. I'm telling you what. So, John, if you would be so kind.
Oh, I'm there.
You're down here at the
bottom.
bottom.
Yeah, when you started saying that you were going to go down, down there on the painting,
okay.
We are on the ball over here.
This is what we're painting now. Now, this is what we call, this is important. This painting's in 3 stages. The foreground, the middle ground, and the background, okay? Now, I think that's kind of, you can see this is the foreground. This is the middle ground, and the sky is our background, okay?
Oh. See, I would have really broken, being a sock folder, I see four depths.
Well, there are 4. This is the depth and this is, but basically this is the middle ground, this is our background, and this is the foreground. Or you could count these 2 as the background, middle ground. I guess it's semantics here, but there's basically, when they break paintings down into things, now a portrait wouldn't have a foreground, middle ground, or background, but most landscapes do, not always, but sometimes. And so, this is what we're looking at today, and generally in acrylics. Now, this is not true with watercolor, this is not true with oil, but in acrylics, you paint the farthest thing away and come forward. Just march your way forward, except it's this way. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. I started with a little 8 by 10. What we've been having John do is when we're at the end of a show or I'm end of a painting session, I asked John if he's got time to just take the leftover paint and paint my canvases for me. And I said, do we happen to have some sort of blue one? It's just any old shade of blue. It really doesn't matter. But this is a dried blue canvas. Just blue, right? At this point, we don't care. Just a dried blue canvas. And what I want to do is,
so I gotta get my.
Basically, we're going to take some chalk, and I want to come down. I'm going to show you here about 4 fingers.
There we go.
All right, about 4 fingers, and I'm going to just lightly draw in some mountains, okay, like that. Come this way. Now, what I want you to know is that they're kind of sharp and they're kind of sharp and do like that, right? Now, what they aren't is this.
But that's what we learned in first grade.
Well, no, this is what the cartoons. If you happen to live in the States and you were born at a time when cartoons were your thing when you were a kid, which
absolutely Saturday afternoon.
The cartoons, right? This is these are the mountains that went by. So your brain says mountains, and no matter what I say, people do this stuff, and I don't know why, but they just do, because that's your handwriting for mountains. But you're not going to do that, are you? Because we've already explained it. So once your mind goes, oh, we don't get to do that, no. And we're just using some new pastel chalk, and the reason we're doing that is because it kind of wipe off and kind of a light color. These are about $1 a stick. They're called new pastels. You could also use like a white charcoal pencil. Those are kind of nice too. Somebody said, can you use a watercolor pencil? Yeah, a light one. I guess you can. I don't use them. You could try it and see. I like something I can kind of smudge off and erase. So that being said, we've put out some paint today. We've got white. We will have some zinc white out here on that. We have white, yellow, cad yellow medium, purple, ultramarine blue, phthalo blue, and cad red medium. Some pretty basic colors tonight.
I would classify that your limited palette.
That's a kind of a limited palette for sure. Don't you like this? Don't you love this? Is a
no, we can't see that because you're over there spinning it. Oh, there. Oh.
This is I found these. We've got a link on our website to these for Amazon. And if you just like to. I like it. I like to put my white paint in the middle so I always know where it is, and my zinc white should have been there too, but that's where it would have gone, and then my other colors around the outside.
Where is your zinc white?
I don't know, but it's not in there, but it will be.
Well, that's obvious.
Good. But right now, all we need is, we just need a little palette knife. We're going to start with some white, because, and then we're going to take a little tiny bit of phthalo blue. That's pretty turquoisey, right?
Yes, it is.
And it's like kryptonite, man. It really stains quickly. It's just, it's like spilling grape juice on a shirt. Boy, it just, ever did that? Ever done that? So grape juice, and it just makes this horrible big stain. All right, so a little tiny bit of cad red medium, just a tiny little bit. That's way too much. All right, so I'm going to sort of push that around a little bit. Kind of gray this blue out. I think I'll take a little tiny bit of the ultramarine blue now, just a touch. We're kind of mixing the blues. Some people might use cobalt blue. With these two blues, I can pretty much mix anything. Just most blues I can get here. Now, all right, so I've got some blues, and if yours isn't exactly like mine, no one's going to see mine anyway, and so just be real positive about it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the color she used, regardless, right? Just say that, and everybody go, oh, that's nice. See? All right, so we're going to take. I'm going to take a half-inch angle. What's this one is? Half-inch. I have to put my glasses on to see something. 3/4 inch angle brush. It's a good thing I read these things, right? But, just a bright brush would be good. One of the bigger ones. What I want to do is just come down here with the blue paint. And I'm looking at that, and I can see I need a little more ultramarine blue in that, and I won't bother to mix it in there. I'll just add a bit to my brush. And I'm coming down at an angle, kind of next to my mountains here like that, just coming down at an angle. Just take a little bit of that as I go, a little more ultramarine blue. There we go. Wipe the brush off because that's a little lighter than I want. There we go. Okay, coming down from the top like this, a little bit of this. And as I come around my mountains, now notice I'm not being all that particular. I'm coming down a little bit, probably a little bit lower. I just didn't want to paint the whole thing. Look at the angle of the brushes. Okay. So it came up, somebody came up, we like to answer questions, and feel free during the show to ask questions. One of the benefits of being a live member, if you've never, participating in the live shows, is that you can ask the artist questions, and if you put them in caps, our moderators or John is more likely to see them, and we want to answer your questions. If you have a burning question, you can always go to my website, contact us. This is before the show. Like tomorrow we'll do another live show, so make sure I have it. And write us, could you answer this question on the show? And we'll mention your name and everything. And you'll go,
unless you don't want us to.
Unless you don't want us to. Then we'll say someone else said it. Right?
Who do you
want us to throw under the bus, right?
Yeah. Hey, you can see we put our subscriber count up there at 42,307. We're only shy a few 8,000 to get to our 50,000 by the end of the year.
So we'd appreciate you, anytime you feel like, feel generous enough to help us out on that, we'd appreciate it, okay? All right, now while this is drawing, okay, so this is drawing. This is one of the tricks you can do with a picture like this. We pretty much decided, I'm going to come back here with a little ultramarine blue now, tiny bit of cad red medium, like a drop, and a little bit of that lighter color, just a little bit, just not too much. I don't want this as dark as this, right? A little bit more. That's probably good. And I'm going to come along in here. Let's see, that's too light. So let's rinse all the light off my brush for a minute. Put a little more cad red, or a little bit more ultramarine blue with that. Let's see how I'm doing. I want darker. I want a little bit darker. Maybe I'll add a drop of purple. That's pretty good. Let's try that. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to come in here like this. A little bit more. Let's try some cad red, and it's just not quite as dark as I want. But I don't want it as dark as the canvas. There you go. Well, something like that. So you see how I'm going to sort of, same angle here, I'm going to put my mountains in. I think I'll make another peak like this here. And that doesn't really matter what I do over there because it's going to be behind the tree. So I'll just bring this down here like this, and then I'm going to come, this is about what, about 5 fingers up this way. I'm going to come down here like this, just make like a little hill this way, and just going to leave some of this dark showing through like that. Okay, I'm going to say that happened there, and then we're going to say, let's just take a little bit just for the fun of it. Just come on down here like this, and let's see, I think I want this about 5 fingers up too. Just do something like that. All right, so you see we've already got some sort of background in here, and we haven't done much, right? That's how fast that goes. So anyway, the question came up, and here's the thing. This is like the fireside chat here while we paint. If you're one of these people that I have friends like that. You know what I mean? They can't focus on chatting and painting and instruction, but we're here to have a good time and tell you stuff. But the questions that have come up, as somebody asked today, they sent me their artwork. If you're a member of our online art academy, you can send me your artwork. Anything you've done of mine from YouTube or anything in our lessons, over 400 lessons now on our site, you can paint one, and as you're painting it, you don't have to wait till you're finished even. Just send it to me and ask for help. And so the question was, they felt like their painting wasn't as bright as mine. Now this is interesting because the thing, we're living in a computer age where you're looking at the stuff on your television or your iPad or something, maybe your phone, but mostly one of these, your big computer screen. No two monitors are going to have the same color balance. So just remember that, okay? And the other thing is that things tend to look brighter on a computer screen. You never quite get as bright as a computer screen. And then the third thing is acrylics dry darker. But I looked at his, and I put mine next to it, and it looked exactly the same to me. I mean, I couldn't see what on earth he was talking about. But the question came up was, he felt like his stuff wasn't bright enough. He wanted to know, and maybe you guys know this. I'm going to throw this out to you, see who has the right answer, because I know it. See if you guys know it. He wanted to know if he mixed mixing white and or mixing or zinc white into titanium, would that make it brighter? What do you guys think?
Would that make the white brighter?
Yeah, would that make the brighter? He wanted to know if that happened. So I mean, let's see. I think I had that somewhere.
So if I have zinc white and titanium white, I mix them together, will it make it brighter?
Yeah, that was the question. And I wrote back, and I gave him an answer, but I think it's important, because if anybody's even asking me that question, right, that shows to me that they don't understand exactly what mixing white or zinc white is, okay? So do we have any, before I go on, does our group any comments here, or are we too far ahead of them?
No, I think you're doing fine. We have other commentary going on.
Okay, so this is, Liquitex makes something called mixing white. Golden makes something called zinc. Matisse doesn't make any of that at all. Why, I couldn't tell you. And you can't really mix these. These are a very thin, veiled, transparent white. And so it's transparent. So generally speaking, if you add transparent anything to another color, it's not going to brighten it. It just won't. But what you use these for, and I'm going to show you how to use these today. We've got lots of videos on what to do with these, but this is another example of how you would use mixing white. I like, like I say, zinc mixing white is part zinc, part titanium already, and zinc white is even more transparent, a sort of a see-through, like looking through cellophane, see-through veil. All right, now you see this. Now I'm going to say that I've got in general in my mountain scene, how this is working in my little world of mountains is that the sun is coming up somewhere over here. This is my cold side of the hill, okay? This left side is the cold side of the mountains. So if I take a little bit of white paint, let me just put even a little bit of this mixing white out, and I'll show you. This would be a good example of when to use this. Here, put it, and you should label it on your palette because you can't really tell the difference looking at it. I'm going to just come along here on this side. Now this is still wet, so I may need to dry it, but let's just see. I'm going to just suggest, barely touching it with a little 1/4 inch brush, that here's a little dusting of snow with some of the dark showing through on kind of the left side of these hills, and maybe, like this. And we're going to say that there's some
So you're kind of putting in the snow reflection.
I'm putting in the snow back here on the mountains, right? And they're not totally white because the rocks are still showing through. This might be an early snow. Probably in some cases you wouldn't see this many rocks, but we're seeing them today. Now the other thing we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to take this mixing white like this, and we're going to come up and then lift up, push and lift up, come around our mountains like this, like there, kind of there. Now we're going to lift up, push and lift up, so you're going to get these streaks going, and then maybe coming down from the sky we can just do a few, just push and lift. If you push and stop, you get a mark. If you push and lift your brush up like an airplane taking off on a runway, this is the secret you want to do here. I'm going to kind of lift these up. We're putting in a few downward streaks, not the whole thing. Could have done that with the big brush too. Could have done that, but we didn't, right? So now coming down around here, and I want to say that just this way. When we may come back later and add some more. Now I could add a little bit of water to the brush, wipe it off, and then blend this a little more if I wanted to. Just dampening this brush would kind of smooth some of this out. But remember, you know where the sky color is, don't you? So if you got carried away and lost it, in your enthusiasm for a neat painting, you got too much white over the blue, you can put a little bit of blue back. This is the secret with the acrylics. You layer them. So you can't really screw these up, okay? And I might even take this here, I can sit there and say, well, let's see, let's make sure I've got some dark here. I might come along here like that and see if I lost too much of my dark, you know how to put it back too. So again, you can't really mess this up. Good to know, right? So any questions, John, while we're painting?
Remind me, mixing white is zinc white, right?
Mixing white is zinc and titanium, part titanium and part zinc. And zinc white is your most transparent.
Yeah, zinc is the most transparent.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they'll tell you that right here on the label they'll say transparent, it features mixing white, and I think they tell you somewhere on here what it is. But anyway, if they don't, it's basically just understand it's a transparent white. That's all you need to know. And there's not enough difference between the two to matter to me, as far as that goes. Just not anywhere near enough difference. And I think I want to take a little bit more and get a little bit of light going up this way. And this is a good time to dry. The reason I say that is I want to put some clouds layer in here. Well, I guess while I was waiting for that, I could do this. If you like snow paintings, and I just want to say this, we actually have created a lot of different playlists. I will try to put our snow painting playlist at the end of the video so you can find it easily. But for instance, here's an example of a snow painting we have on YouTube. Now look how tiny these are. Isn't this fun? I mean, that's little, and I think that's really cute, and that's a wonderful one. This was one of my favorites. Is Wendy on? tonight?
No, I believe she's going to be traveling today.
Wendy's traveling, but Wendy, one of our moderators, she did this scene. This is on YouTube. She did this scene on a saw blade, about this long, on an old-fashioned saw blade, and gave it to her dad for Christmas. This is one of my favorites. This, again, another one on YouTube. Really neat, just sort of the little town in the background kind of hinting at it, some birds flying. I think we called this... I've forgotten something about wind, the catching the wind or something, because you know how cliffs, I don't know, what did we call that?
Updraft?
Updraft, something, because that's,
something along that line.
Cinnamon's dad and my first husband, Cinnamon's dad used to fly hang gliders. Did you guys know that? He was a hang glider pilot, and he built his own hang gliders. I never took out any life insurance policy. He's still living. I always, at the time, I was always going to. I don't think would have given us any because it's a very dangerous sport. But most of his friends didn't make it. But he was like one of the older guys that were doing it. He was like in his 30s when he started, and everybody else was 18 or 19.
Oh, young and stupid.
So
fearless. Hey, we'd like to thank Denise for the donation.
Oh,
thank you. And she writes, "Thank you for your lessons."
Oh gosh, you're so welcome, and we really appreciate the donations. And if someone's asking, what is this donation deal, and what is she talking about? The thing of it is during the live shows, what you can do is you can, add $1 to the kitty, and $1 up to $500, doesn't matter. Just throw a buck at the pot. You'd be amazed how that'll add up for someone. And listen, that's a nice thing to do. It's we appreciate it. You can't do it only in the live videos. If you're watching this later, you won't be able to, but we appreciate it. Denise, thank you very much for that. Helps cover the cost of paint and some of the stuff, and we appreciate it. And also it helps us scholarship other artists. We scholarshiped six people last month.
6 months, yep.
And from donations like yours. So thank you very much. And when you say how does that work? Well, we'll cover that as we go. I was kind of stalling to kind of get some time. I was going to tell you about Cinnamon's dad and his crazy hang gliders. Okay, so he built them.
Speaking of that, somebody wanted to know, how did you meet him?
Cinnamon's dad?
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, that's an interesting story. Okay, so back when I was 17 and going to college, okay, I went to college early at Arizona State University, and I'd gone up for Christmas. My sister lived in Aspen. I'd gone up to see her for Christmas. And we got into a huge fight. She was 3 years older. We got into this huge fight. You know how sisters do. And I rarely, in all the years I knew her, and she died when she was 63, she and I rarely fought. But when we were younger, I was the kind of the one, she just laughed. I'd throw chairs at her and stuff. I had some real temper. And she just laughed or whatever. But we got in a real fight. I thought her husband was the scum of the earth, really. He was, too. I was right. I probably didn't need to say it, but, at 17, 18, you just feel truth bubbling out of you. When you realize the truth, you must share it, kind of thing. Not that things have changed that much, but back then I was worse. And so anyway, I think I pointed out some of his... Well, he was a drug dealer is what he was, and I just pointed out that I didn't think that would bode well for her to be with somebody like that, that she could do better. Anyway, we got in a big fight, and she threw me out of the house. And so then I had to take my allowance and go stay at a hotel, which was, for the rest of vacation.
Wow.
And I think somebody had introduced me just in passing to Colby, Cinnamon's dad, at just at somewhere in a restaurant. Somebody said, "Oh, by the way, this is Colby," and he was like 27, a lot older, and somebody had pointed out to me that he was financially fairly well off, whatever that meant, and so I was thinking that I really needed dinner. No, it's true. It's so shallow. It's 17. So I thought, maybe I could get this nice guy to take me out to dinner, just because I didn't feel like spending my allowance. I was already kind of tapped out with the a little more snow here with the hotel and everything. So anyway, we got to, but I thought he was like the rudest person. First impressions, you really ought to go with those, because I thought he was really rude. I was just, I can suffer through dinner with this man. I think somebody said he'd wanted to ask me out, and I thought, well, I'll let him take me out because he could afford it. I was hungry, he could afford it, and I didn't feel like I was taking advantage. So anyway, and we went skiing together the next day, and he was a good skier, and I was a really good skier, and he was a really good skier, and so we had this sort of ski bond, and then it turned out we both rode motorcycles, and so we had this sort of bond.
Okay,
going.
wait. When you said motorcycles, this time were you still on your Vespa?
Yeah, but I considered that a motorcycle. He had a
Vespa's a motorcycle.
Well, it was to me. I mean, back then, girls didn't do any of that. There wasn't a girl on anything. There wasn't a girl on a Vespa. I mean, I was like the anomaly. When I first got my Vespa, when I was going to college, I mean, people would stop and stare. They'd never seen a woman ride anything, except on the, there were some posters in the Vespa shop with girls sitting on them. I think they were to sell the Vespas to the boys, but there's no such thing, It was encouraging to me. I was the only girl in the Vespa club.
There was a Vespa club?
There was a Vespa club, and I was the only girl in the Vespa club. In fact, when I actually took my Vespa and rode to Colorado to see Colby back in later that February, and decided I had enough of school, enough of this. I was just going to go see him, right? Sounded more fun. And I just got on my Vespa and went from Arizona State University up to Aspen. I rode there on my Vespa, going at like 35. I was a Vespa 92, so I don't think we would be legal today on the freeways, but I think my top speed was like 50, maybe 60.
Downhill, with the wind behind you.
And it was a 2-cycle engine and that kind of stuff. That's a strange story, but yeah, I rode up to see him, and then I can remember riding my Vespa through Aspen, and I couldn't get a lot of traction. I'd have these, we used to ride. I had a ski rack. He fixed us a ski rack and put a ski rack on my Vespa, and he had one on his motorcycle. And so we'd ride to the mountain. He skied every day. It was fun. Just went skiing every day, right? Much more fun than school, I have to tell you. You've got to get the right perspective. All right, so I'm going to just take a little of this mixing white, and I think I want a little bigger brush for that.
I think we need to have a picture of Ginger on a Vespa. That could be in a painting. I am seeing a painting of Ginger on her Vespa with the skis on the back going up the mountainside.
All right, this is one of the Art Sherpas brushes. I'm going to try it. I haven't used this. This is one of hers. It's called a scrubbing brush, and I just want a little, I'm going to try this with the clouds. I'm just going to come in here like that with a little bit of mixing white coming this way, and I want to create a little cloud layer. We could have used an angle brush too, but you see what I'm doing? A little bit of mixing white, and I'm pushing pretty hard. I'm just going to come in here like that. Not trying to cover up the whole thing, but I want to suggest there's some clouds here. A little layer of clouds. Now I got that a little bit more than I wanted, so if I wanted to erase something, I'd just take a bit of water and then wipe it. Do you see that? So I have a little bit of the dark showing through. You're never stuck with anything with acrylics, but there's something like that. So see, I've got some clouds, just sort of a little cloud layer. You could do this with any little stiff brush. I thought I'd just play with Cinnamon's brush or scrubbing brush. When you get these gifties, you got to use them, right? How did you like my scrubbing brush? Oh, I don't know. I'm sure it's great. So it's great. Great kid. Hey, and listen, I want to thank everybody for helping Cinnamon reach her goals for her art studio. This, the first phase of it. It was very kind of you guys to do that. And, I'm going to just say that my daughter Cinnamon has been on YouTube for 3 years, and she's put out some tremendous artwork and has been really a trooper. She's on there every day now, for instance, and if you haven't. And so anyway, those of you guys that have helped her contribute to that, the family is very, I'm happy for them, and I'm happy for my grandchildren, and everybody still has a roof over their head. It's all very good, and she'll have a fancy new art studio. And my friend Jack White said, he's passed away, but one of the things he said was that the neater and better your art studio is, he felt there was some relation to your productivity and how nice your art studio is. So if you go to my Pinterest page, Ginger Cook Live, all one word on Pinterest, but if you go there, I've got a board that's just fantasy art studios. All right, and if you know of one, feel free to say. I like to just, if you can't imagine it, you can't have it. It doesn't matter. You have I don't have a fantasy art studio now. I mean, I've got a big art studio, but it could be better. It's not a matter of equipment. It's a matter of organization, and look, there's a real art to rooms too, not just paintings. Okay, but anyway. So anyway, if you want to have some fun, look at some of these fantasy ones. I like the ones with the ocean view, I got to tell you. The ones where the people are painting and they're looking out and there's the ocean. I think that's a great fantasy art studio.
That's a perfect one.
That's perfect. And
I have a commentary from myself, that bright white little speck of paint that's on there. Oh, thank you.
That was just loose. That was loose.
Well, that's all right.
Okay, so now we're going to come down here with a little of this mixing white again, a little angle brush, and I'm going to come down here like this, and I'm using it on its edge. Do you see that?
Oh, we had a question in regards back to Colby. What did he tell you his job was?
Oh, well, he told me he was a spy. In confidence. This was much later, kind of pillow talk kind of thing, right?
He was a spy.
He told me he was a spy. And, he's 27, and he had the story about how he'd been in the Army. He had been in the Army, and, he was drafted. He went to the Army. He went to France. It was before Vietnam. And he went to France, and he was a photographer. And he had done some different jobs, and when he got out of the Army, apparently from whatever he was doing in there, he was asked by the government. This is his story now, not mine. I'm just... James Bond wasn't even a movie then. I mean, that was like a year before James Bond. And it was very interesting that he thought he was a spy. He told me he was a spy, and that sometimes he would have to go away on these missions for several days at a time, and he couldn't talk about them. Now, years, I'm thinking, wow, that's so interesting. How do you get to be a spy? I mean, I just thought that was so cool. How do you get to be a spy?
School.
Well, I thought you did. John, I thought you had to go to spy school. So I was all excited. He told me this at Christmas, back when we'd kind of had dinner, and, one thing led to another, and we were friends, and, I liked him. After it got past the initial dislike, I thought he was okay. And so anyway, and then he was very interested with the spy business, right? Well, I didn't realize he was just a pathological liar. His whole life, that was his thing. And a fanciful imagination. Oh, my God. So I go back to school. I mean, I've told the story before, but it's fun. I go back to school, and I decide that's what I want to be, is a secret agent. I don't know, I don't have the military thing, but I think that would be a great thing. I wonder how many courses you would need to take to be the secret agent person. I wanted to do that. That sounded fun. So I thought, well, maybe I could start small, and I could get a job as looking for shoplifters.
That's perfect.
Yeah, kind of work my way up, right?
Great ambitions. I'm liking it.
Yeah, so anyway, so I go to this employment agency. Now you have to understand that we are not poor. I had, back in those days, I had a $200 a month allowance, which was a lot of money then, right? So I wasn't short of. I bought my own Vespa my Vespa was like $400, right? This is, you got to understand the time frame. Be like $2,000 or $3,000 a month now, and so I mean, I didn't need the money, but again, I wanted the on-hand jobs experience. I thought that would be a perfect thing. Look for shoplifters, and I was thought I'd be ideal for it. So I went to this travel agency, and bless this man's heart, he was so sweet. He says, "Hi, what do you want to do?" And I said, "Hi, I'm going to college down here in Tempe." And I said, "And really what I want to do is I want to be," well, I said, "I have this friend and he's a spy, but I don't tell a lot of people that." And I thought that I could.
He told you that in confidence? You don't tell people that they're spies? You can't keep a secret, can you?
No.
You just can't. Okay, people, keep that in mind.
So then I said, so I thought that to learn how to do that, I was going to try and take some courses in college. Perhaps I could have a job as looking for shoplifters. And the man didn't laugh me out of the room. He was so sweet. Probably had kids of his own, thinking, "Oh, good God." He goes, "Well, what's your major in college?" So I'm going, "Art." He says, "Well, how about a job in an art museum?" I says, "Why not?" In an art museum or an art gallery? I'm going, "Oh, I don't need a job. I just want to do this." I don't actually need a job.
I'm just trying to improve my skills for being a spy.
I just want to do that, right? So he's God, this man had the patience of Job. You got to hand it to him, okay? We're going to change brushes here as we tell the story. Yeah, everybody's still into the story. Shall we continue it on? So
OMG, Ginger, I could listen to your stories 24/7. So yeah, I guess so.
Okay, so I'm going to get a little white paint here with a little bit of the blue background, just a tiny bit. We're going to tint it, and we're going to come up here like this with the brush. And I want to kind of come about like this, and we're going to leave some, just do something like this, all right, as we're talking. So then I thought, well, what I need to do is I need to see the college curriculum. I need to see, obviously, these art courses are a total waste of time. Obviously, they don't need any art spies. So what I need to do is find out what I have, how much schooling I have to do to get that job, because that sounds fun, right? So I go to the school counselor and explain to her the deal. She says, oh. She says, well, we have these we do have, well, listen, they do recruit spies out of universities. They do. The CIA recruits spies. Nobody has explained to me how much college you had to have to get that. They want attorneys and different kinds of people, right? Accountants and God knows what, Somebody could have explained to me how many courses you needed to get that. I would have said, oh, screw it, Just, what? I wanted 1 or 2 courses and a job kind of thing, right? So, kind of hands-on training. So,
on-the-job spy school. I think it's a new possibility for you. We could create one of those. On-the-job spy school.
So anyway, so the lady calls my mother.
Uh-oh.
Oh, God, she called my mother and told her the deal. That this was my
that you wanted to be a spy.
And then my new ambition. And she put my mother on the phone and she said, I quote, she says, oh, God, I believe you've gotten more mature. You're going backwards. Are you still seeing the therapist, dear? Perhaps you need to schedule some more sessions. So that's another story. So anyway,
oh man,
and I was very nice because I could have said, the only time I need therapy is after I talk to you, so I probably do need that, right? But I didn't say it because I thought these things. But she could cut the allowance off in a second. She just don't bite the hand that's keeping the allowance going, right?
Yeah.
But these thoughts are occurring, right? So anyway, we're going to be making this pine tree up here, like now, all right? We're going to put this big pine tree, so we have to make it dark green. So we got to leave this blue out of the way. Let's get some.
Now, do you need to dry that before?
No, because this is dry. We've been just chatting about spies.
Well, you just put in snow in the bottom. You're just going to lay it right down into.
Yeah, right next to it. So I'm going to just get rid of all this and put that over here.
Kind of be your backup reminder here.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Yeah. So, so anyway, so the upshot of it was that there was no spy school. There were some courses, but some prerequisites were scary. So, so that was out. That was out. But I thought, well, that's okay. It was a thought. Then, it would have been fun, right?
I could see you as a spy.
I think I would have been. Well, I would have been a lousy spy. I can't keep a secret if 2 people are dead, and I'd have to kill me too, right? So, I'm the worst person. You just don't want to tell me anything, right? So, anyway, we're going to make a dark green color. We're going to take the last of the ultramarine blue and a little tiny bit of this yellow.
And that yellow happens to be CAD
yellow medium, and a little bit of purple. And more ultramarine blue, which we happen to have right here in our handy little carousel.
We see that Wendy has made it back from her trip.
Hi, Wendy. Thank you. So we're catching you up in case you wanted to do it. So then, actually, the upshot of it was this. So then I decided, well, they could keep school. I would just leave. Couldn't be a spy. Didn't have anything I wanted to do. Huh?
Did you ever get a degree?
No.
Me neither.
I never got the degree.
I had a year to go.
Yeah, and then got the degree. But you know what? I mean, I'm telling you what, that I took art class, a lot of art classes, and what a bunch of BS that was.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what, one of the things I said back when I took my first art class, says someday I'm going to teach art, and I'm actually going to explain some junk because this is bullshit,
Did you? Hey, censor.
Censor, yeah. I'm telling you what.
Beep.
I was so annoyed. We're going to start here like this. We're going to start putting in our tree, and I want you to kind of watch me. This is a different kind of pine tree. So I'm kind of making little hills here, and I'm making it all dark. And then as I come up higher, I'm going to just come up like this.
Is that a really, really, really super dark green?
Yes, a really dark green. It's almost black, you know. And then as I get up here, I'm using the edge of the brush like this, and I'm making these little tiny pine needles are coming this way. All right, and then all this is going to be dark up here. How we're going to explain the tree is through the snow. So up here at the top, it's very small, like that, you know, as trees are. This tree actually goes past the top of the canvas, all right? And as you remember from your pine tree experience, that pine trees are narrower at the top and wider as they go down. Everybody is with me on that, right? So mostly we're just saying that this is doing that. See that? We have this vague outline of the tree. Do you see that, this sort of shape? And we're just using it like that. We're going to bring it down into the snow like this and bring this back down into the snow. And again, we want it dark down here at the base, kind of going up like that. So already that's pretty good, right? So, all right, while that's drawing, we're going to come up here and we're going to say, we want a little tree here, not quite as tall as this one. So let's just make a little straight up and down line like that. That's good, right? And then let's just come across here like this, doing the same kind of thing, using just a little angle brush and suggesting that this tree is wider at the base. Not too wide, these are kind of narrow. And I've got a nice tall one here. And I'm going to come up here like that. I'm just going almost a herringbone pattern with the dark green. And I've got a little shorter one in the middle that's pretty much all dark green down in here toward the base. And then over here, I've got one all by itself that's hiding on the other side of the mountain, a little small one back over here. Now those are my 3 little green trees. See that?
And notice how she did 5 trees, not 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did, yeah. Good thinking.
It just comes natural to you, but some of us would put in 4 trees or 6 trees.
Yeah, it's supposed to be these odd trees, unless you're talking about like like you can do a pair of something, like 2 pears or 2 apples or something. But then they talk about 3, 5, 7, 9. It has to do with the golden mean. It has to do with some sort of math stuff. You know, again, probably should have stayed in college. Could have explained it better. But well,
I find I didn't learn a lot in college.
So anyway, it turned out later about his dad that he had just told me that because he was thinking that we might be together, and he wanted some reasons to be able to just take off and never have to explain it. So he'd made that story up. He used to make a lot of stuff up, and not knowing it. This is just one of his amazing stories, that he made up, and I was just, and then every once in a while I'd say something to his mother who would get mad at me, like somehow I'd made her son a liar. I'd repeat one of those, which wasn't true, and it would upset her a lot, like somehow this was my fault. Now, in all fairness, he was a very smart person, had a lot of good qualities about him, absolutely did, for sure. All right, now we can't do anything with this. So while we're drawing this, you guys want to see what we're doing? I got to show you some stuff, all right, while this is drawing. I'll tell you more about spy stuff here. Next week on YouTube, next week, not tomorrow, but next week on YouTube, we are going to have, and this was, every once in a while we'll give you something really phenomenally amazing, right?
And you've outdone yourself.
I've outdone myself. I want you to see this. Isn't this pretty?
Oh, let me back up a little bit.
Can you back up? This is really nice. I want you to see that. And the reason what this is so cool is that this is a little 8x10 oval. And
which is so strange.
And then what you want to do is you want to find the frames. Don't just go buy an oval canvas because the frames are kind of tough. Get it off of one of the websites like a Dick Blick or one of those sites where they sell the frames and the canvas the same size, and so you get them both. And then this, if you like that, but you like the idea of the oval frame, this is a painting that we did last year on our it's a little bit bigger, and we did this last year, and that's on our gallery site. If you remember Ginger Cook Live Art Academy, this is one of the paintings. If you haven't seen this one, you don't have to do it on an oval frame. This is deer. I think this is really pretty, but these oval paintings can be really nice. One thing I would suggest is you staple the edges. The biggest problem I found with these, particle board here is how they stretch them around. If these ever come loose, you can't get them back. So if you're going to put them in a frame anyway, just to be on the safe side, I just run some staples all the way around the edge. But anyway, that's next week. Is that on YouTube next week? Okay. And the reason we're putting that next week is that we may not be here next week. So we wanted to make sure that you had that. And let's see. Well, that was kind of cool, right? Yeah.
It was.
So that's next week. So all right.
Still wet. Hey.
This is still wet.
Why don't we pop up the? We have the people's art.
Oh yeah, I'm going to dry this while you show. You know, when you're a member of gingercooklive.gallery, we do art critiques, and every once in a while when we have our act together, we can actually show you something. So while I dry this, John's going to show you some great stuff, and then I'll make comments too. From just some of our, our members to send the stuff in, I make little tiny suggestions, not big things. It doesn't have to be a big thing to really improve a painting. All right, there we go.
Wait.
Mute me.
Mute. Okay, you're muted. All right, we got from Sherry D. She did the umbrella and puppy dog. And Ginger doesn't remember sending her anything, maybe just writing her some suggestions. And her final, if you look at it, you can see she made some changes to the top of the umbrella. She has some more whites up there. And she's added some more greenery around the reds in the back and a little bit behind the back of the dog, kind of to help the dog stand out a little bit better. So this is one that really nicely done. I like the addition of the dog. Ginger did not have the dog in hers, but I think looks like a poodle. It really looks great there. So let me get rid of those two. Are you back, or would you like me to go on to Tanya's?
I just got paint on my face.
No, that's unusual.
Yeah. All right, I'm back. I'm unmuted. Yeah.
No, you're not unmuted.
Did you show the one with the umbrella and the flowers?
I did the umbrella and the doggy.
Okay, now that painting of the umbrella and the flowers is on YouTube. I just thought the idea of adding that dog. See, this is what I'm talking about. That's the imagination part. Okay. I just think that is so cute. Really, really nice. All right, all right, so this is what we're going for here. Everybody sees that, right? So we're talking about that. Now, for those of you who are not real clear on how snow works, well, some people have never seen it, never lived in a climate. It's falling down like rain. Works. And basically, it's just imagine if you just threw some flour up in the air and let it land on everything.
You'd have a messy kitchen.
Yeah, but it's also going to hit that. It's going to land on anything flat first, right? Or it's going to stick to the flat stuff. Obviously, if it lands on the top of a spoon underneath, doesn't have any flour, right?
Obviously.
You just have to think about it. So when flour's sitting on top of this tree, you always see the dark underneath, all right? That's kind of one of those rules. I could show you photograph after photograph of trees, but if you just keep that in mind, it's like a rule, right? Like I before E except after C, one of those kind of rules, okay? Snow kind of lands on top of things, all right? So, and then also snow has color. There's shadows, so there's going to be some light snow, and generally the shadows on snow are either blue or purple, okay? Those are your two main shadow colors. So now that we know that, so anyway, now that we know that, we're good here. Here, we're going to start with we're going to start adding some snow. So let's take a little bit of titanium white now. And what I'm going to do is using this little angle brush, right? I'm going to just use the tip of it and just hold my little finger off here. And I'm going to start up here on the tip here. Remember, it's falling. Then I'm going to come this way and say it's falling here. Maybe just the tip like that. I'm tapping it. Okay, and it's falling down. And remember, there's some stuff in the front here, because remember, it's not just on the sides like wings. Like if this is your tree, that it's not the branches out on each side of it, right? There's some branches in the front and the back, right, and on the sides, all the way around. So you've got to indicate that, and then so we'll take a little bit white, and we'll add some shadows later. We're going to add some shading later. All right, and we're going to say here's our tree, like that, okay? Then let's throw this one in. You like the word, throw that in? And we're going to make this one.
Yeah, just throw it in like a piece of cake.
Yeah, just make this very thin. And these angle brushes are perfect for that. Some of you apparently thought I was using a fan brush. You don't really need a fan brush for this. Your angle brush just works like a champ, okay? Now this one is going to be a little taller. And we're going to do a little bit more detail on this one. Okay, I'm going to say that. I'm going to make sure I have enough paint on there. I think I'll put my glasses on so I can possibly see it. So I'm going to use just the corners of this and dot in some snow here. I'm going to suggest that there's some, it's piling up now. Okay, so it's starting to pile.
Heavy snows.
Heavy snow. This is the thick, heavy, wet snow. We had this big conversation. When I was a kid, it snowed. And we used to go skiing. My parents actually sent me to the ski camp in the wintertime. And the one thing that always got me was just kind of crazy. I think I'm still this way. I think we are kind of the way we always are, you know. I used to carry my skis, right? And as soon as I got to the point where I could carry them easily, I outgrew them and they got me a heavier pair. And it was unbelievable. And then my stupid sister, who was 3 years older, actually had boys carrying her skis for her. Unbelievable. And I'm going...
Unbelievable because you didn't think of doing it first?
Well, I was too young. I wasn't, you know, when you're 11 or 12,
oh, that's true.
You know, maybe now, but back then, nobody was carrying your skis, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we were very, you know, things, you know, nobody was carrying my skis. Yeah, once I popped onto that, sure, then there they were, right? But when you're a kid, I was just looking at her, going, how are you, that is so unfair, and I'm lugging my skis. In fact, the biggest thing we were talking about, I learned swearing at ski camp.
Oh, that's an important skill.
Yeah, I didn't know what any of the words meant, but I learned. And, yeah, so, I mean, because my parents didn't swear. I mean, they really didn't. My dad would say, oh, shucks, I never heard swearing in our house. Never. My dad was a Superior Court judge, and he didn't. In fact, after the Nixon scandals, you know, where all that stuff, and they had Nixon on the tape swearing and doing all that stuff, I was, you know, in my early 20s, and I asked my dad, I said, I mean, I understand you don't swear around Mom and the family, but do you guys talk like that? Just honestly, do you talk like that when you're out with your friends? He said, absolutely not. I mean, that's just not who he was. I mean, but you'd think that the whole world started swearing after that. You know, that everybody just suddenly became acceptable. But back when I was about 10 at ski camp is when I first learned my first new swear words, and when not to use them. When we had been, we were in Redmond, which is, you know, outside of Bellevue, doing some stupid errand with my mother. My sister and I were in the car, and she needed me to move the skis because I think she needed space in the trunk, and she needed me to put them in the back seat or something. And so this was back to the skis were too heavy stuff. And so I asked my sister. My sister wouldn't help me move the skis. And she said something equally snotty to me, my sister being 3 years older, besides not helping me move the skis, or she wouldn't move and I was trying to move the skis. Whatever it was, she wasn't moving. And I said, you know what, you could just go to hell. And I just remember saying that to her.
Whoa, and beep again, hello.
And at that moment, the door kind of fell open, and it really looked like I had shoved her out the other side of the car. Now, I actually hadn't laid a finger on her, but she howled like I'd killed her, you know?
Yeah. Did you get in trouble?
Well, the thing is, my mother was talking to the mayor at the moment.
That's always a good point.
And the one thing you didn't do with my mother was that she really cared what the neighbors thought. She didn't care what anybody did, but she really cared what the neighbors thought. This was a big deal to her. So, I mean, oh yeah, I got in huge trouble for that. And I just kind of was careful never to swear around her after that, right? All right, we're going to start layering the snow on here.
Well, we missed a donation from Miss Brooke a while back during story time, and I wanted to thank you for that, Miss Brooke. We did catch it. Well, one of us did.
Thank you, Miss Brooke. Thank you. We're
and she made a nice comment, and I've lost the comment. It's gone away.
Oh, we need the comment.
Well, if they weren't such a chatty group, I could go back, but it's gone.
Okay. Well, make it again.
So maybe
we'll,
Miss Brooks
we'll
there,
look for
you can tell me what you wrote. I think thanks for the lesson and something else, though.
Okay. So anyway, so that was the upshot of the swearing thing, and I just was careful not to swear around my parents after that because it got such a negative reaction, which is, of course, what you want to do. You know, you want the kind of the wrath of God to come down on you when you do stuff like that. And I remember the first time my granddaughter ever swore.
Honey Bunny?
Honey Bunny. It was the first time she ever swore. And they were in Canada, and she had been going to a Canadian school, and apparently there were a lot of there was just more colorful language, you know, allowed in that elementary school. She was in the second grade. She came home just like I did with a whole new vocabulary. And she said something. I won't even repeat what she said, but she slipped on the kitchen floor and just out came this big long expletive. And her dad was ready to kill her, and her mom says, wait, just maybe she doesn't even understand what she said. And so she asked her, she says, honey, she said, did you know?
we're buffering.
Uh-oh. Well, you may never hear the end of the story. It's great, too.
All right, here we go. I'm going to restart it. Hang on, people.
All right, you may lose some feet. Now, look.
Well, you can talk all you want, but they're not going to hear you.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I guess the local may or may not hear you. So let me just stop it for a second. We'll try to capture it back. Starting it back up. How long have we gone? Only an hour. Right in an hour it went out on us. All right, it's going to come back in a minute or less. I'm frozen. Should be back. Let us know if you get it back. Should be back by now, guys.
I don't want to say anything until we get it back.
Yeah.
And at this point, we now know that my voice may be out of sync with the rest of it. Sorry, this is what happens when we buffer. When we do live classes, if we don't do live, then it's seamless, but you don't get the fun stuff. You know, these questions always start with fun things, and so, you know, that's what happens. So anyway, they had asked her, they said, you know, because John's mother was coming up to visit, and they wanted to make sure that Honey wasn't swearing. You know, and of course, it's, you know, nobody wants a second grader, 8-year-old, to be swearing. So anyway, so they said, you know, do we even know what you just said? And she looked at them, because this kid's really smart, and she said, that was a more emphatic version of oh hell, wasn't it? And then, of course, her mother's, you know, gasping, and she goes, well, you know, and explained about that you know, this wasn't acceptable. And then the comment, which kids always fall back on, is everybody at school talks like this. And her mother was explaining the difference, and I think sometimes it's hard, because kids do hear, you know, adults on TV, and they hear, you know, they hear the kids, and they, you know, use language that maybe someone else doesn't find appropriate in their home. And the excuse, no matter what the other kids are doing, is all the other kids are doing it. And I thought her mom, you know, was explaining the difference between what was permitted for adults and what was not permitted for children, and what was not permitted in their house. And she never swore again. It was really interesting. Nobody got mad at her or punished her or anything. They just kind of explained it.
You just had to explain to her.
Yeah, they just had to explain. Now, see how I'm going back this way with the snow? Which I thought was really cute, but I love that. It's a more emphatic version of, you know, because the kid was really smart. She had a great vocabulary, still does. All right, so.
Are we back, guys?
Are you seeing how we're putting the snow in on top of it? See how it's falling on the branches, and I'm tapping it with the angle brush?
Ah. Miss Brooks said to apply her donation to the Karen Little Scholarship Fund. That's a fund that's available on the website. We take donations through the website. There's a little button right on the home page, gingercooklive.gallery. And to be honest with you, that is a more efficient way for us to get the funding back. Get funds from you folks, because YouTube takes a pretty good chunk out of it and PayPal doesn't. So, is the voice in sync? Usually the voice goes screwy once this happens to us, and we'd like to know if that is still working.
All right, see what I'm doing up at the top here? Still allowing some of this to show through.
Some of the dark still showing through.
Some of the dark showing through, like that. Do you see that? See how we've covered this tree? And it's just allowing.
Ginger, here's a question from Sherry. You started at the top of the little trees, but the bottom of the big tree. Why?
I started at the top of these because I could find. I wanted these. I wanted to build these branches up from the bottom so that the snow. You know, I said this is a snowy branch, right? And then this one's going to overlap. It's like shingles. This is overlapping here, all right? Where these were almost all snow. You see that? But these were very important that I keep the, that I have the white. Now what I want to do is take a little of this background sky color with a little white, like that, and we're going to shade the under part. Let's take a little of this light blue color, and we're going to just shade some of the under part of the snow here. Do you see this on the inside, kind of the part facing me? maybe, let's see, a little water on the brush. You guys remember to rinse your brush once in a while, because the paint's drying in your brush as fast as it's drying on the canvas, and then what you do is you just kind of squeeze it like that, put the shape back. A little bit of, just make this a little bit darker. And we're going to say that we've got some shadows. On this side, the right side of this tree is going to be bluer, so I'm going to say that this is more in shadow, like that, and then the underside of the snow. And then I can come back with some white, some layer 2 of the white, and come back just like this and do a next layer. Because remember, white paint, just like when you're painting a wall, when you paint white over something dark, it's not going to cover it completely. So you see, here's my next layer of white. And you see how now it's really showing up. So one of the secrets to doing pine trees is that you've got to add your next layer of white, like that. And there we go. We're going to say that that's sort of catching the light there, like that. Now, we can do the same thing with a little shadow on these trees too. We can just suggest a little bit of shadow, just a little tiny bit. There is going to be some anyway, and here's why. Because the white's going over something very dark, so it's not going to be as pure white, say, as this white tube of paint. See the difference? See the white? Yeah. So now on these, I would do the same thing. I would pinch the brush and start again and add a second layer. This is the secret here, of white on it, just in a couple places. See? Just barely touch it and, you know, whiten some of this. Like that, see? So then that sort of makes the snow sparkle. So now what I want to do is sort of add, I want to add, I've got some lights, you know, kind of a little bit whiter snow than I've got here. I want to make this a little bit lighter, but I want to come under here like this and suggest that we've got some, our snowbank, and then I'll put some shadow here, and I think break this up like that. And we're going to put some shadows. And if you lost, to get this clever little pattern of shadows I've got right here, I will just add some blue too. I can just take a little bit of the blue paint, a little bit of phthalo blue, a little bit of ultramarine blue, tiny bit of purple, a little bit of white, more blue, because I want it that purpley, more ultramarine blue, a tiny bit of cad red medium to kind of gray it. There we go. A little bit of white. There we go. So here's our sort of bluey, purpley color. I want my a little darker. See how I keep mixing it?
Bluey color.
Yeah, so then I'm going to come up here like this, and I'm just going to say that these are our shadows. Not quite as dark as I have from the background. That was still my background color. So I want to say that there's a shadow going up this way, kind of up here like that. There we go, there's a shadow here, maybe coming up this way, and then maybe behind the tree. And where's my white here? And I'll just say that there's a little bit of white coming like that. So you know, notice I'm not, that snow's never just one or two, you know, it's light gray and, you know, dark gray. Now, I think I need it slightly lighter than that. And I also want to rinse my brush and come back to this dark green color. I lost a little of this under my boughs here, see? I want it a little bit darker under my tree, so I come back with this dark green. So it's okay if you lost it. I probably should have dried this first, but I think we're okay. I'm a little worried about the buffering, so I want to get this done. You can kind of see when that's happening. But what happens to people, and let's see, do we have one of those little tiny, John, can you show me those little tiny, do you have one of those? I don't have one of those little tiny, I always have those tiny little tablet things.
What are you looking for?
You know, the little tiny 6x8 canvases. I want to show people what not to do with trees. I want to show that. Yeah, there's a thing that people do with trees. I want to show you guys what not to do. How's that?
So you're talking about one of my blank ones?
Yeah, one of your painted ones, yeah.
You want light color or dark?
Dark color. But either one is fine. I don't care. Just give me something.
Lovely dark blue here with a little bit of white.
Okay.
Look at that.
Yeah, but it's perfect. See? Okay. So I want to show you what people do with trees. Okay. Can we do that for a minute? See how pretty that pine tree is? It's really pretty. And you come back with the dark in here like that. Kind of break up these branches if you have to in a couple places. Look at that. And then make sure that there's like a little shadow underneath there, like under the tree. And the tree's in shadow. Cool, right? All right, so what people do, and I see this all the time, and what they do is when they're painting a pine tree, here, let's just start with some green, maybe some phthalo green, and that they'll start and they'll do, this is what they do, and I'm going to make this lighter. They start with a tree and they do this.
A stick tree.
Well, I mean, but they do this. It's like an X thing, right? And then they do it, then let's see, let me just find some white paint here. Then they do this. They do this, and they do that, and they do this, and they do that, and they do this, and they do that, and then they wonder why it doesn't. I mean, that you see, now. Okay, now I want you to see the difference between that, right? In fact, you have a lighter canvas because the contrast isn't as good. You have a lighter one, it's even better.
I have a lighter one.
Yeah, I need a lighter one. I think I need a lighter one to really show you because this is what people do, and you don't want to do that. Okay, if you could just please, let's not do that anymore because now that I've explained it, you're never going to do that again, are you? Nobody's going to do that.
Will that work?
Yeah, that's fine. So here's this one. So what you want to try and do instead, right? So you've got this. If you need to start with a pole like that, if you need to say, okay, here's the top of my tree, right? If that helps you, that's okay. But remember that it's smaller up at the top, and you've got branches that are looking at it, okay? So as I'm tapping this, they're not perfect, okay? As I'm tapping this, they're coming out here, and they're coming this way, like that. And then as they get down to the base of this tree, just think about your own holiday trees that you've gotten, or maybe the pine tree you've got in the backyard, even though there's hundreds of different kinds of pine trees, right? We understand that. But it's at the base of the tree, it's bigger. There may be some holes in it, but it's bigger. The skirt comes down, okay? So that when you're saying, are you kind of zoomed in on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty full.
Okay, so that when you're saying that when you've got snow coming down on it, okay, and we'll just do this. I mean, it's just really so nice. It's just a nice way to do it. When you've got it, you've got to just take like the tip of your brush, and up here, you're barely going to touch it. It might be white up here. And then here, you're going to come in here with a little bit of white. And then you're going to tap in a little bit. And then over here, like that, as you come down, and maybe there's some white right here in front, like that. Okay, and then maybe this bough facing us has got more white. Now I didn't dry it. I probably would dry this first, but even this is working. You can see that, right? And then maybe this one right here, and I'll get new paint each time since I didn't dry it, right, like there. Then this branch here it's got a lot of snow on it, and I've got a lot of snow on this one right here. It's just this whole top of this bough is snowy. See, it fell on, this is kind of flat, it's coming down like that. And the same thing here. It's coming down like that, maybe here, and there's skip a space, it happened like that, caught there. And then for sure, it probably caught some of these, like up here, maybe there's a little bit you're not even seeing. I might add, just by adding some snow, I can suggest a branch you didn't see. I can come out here to the very tips of this and suggest a tree branch. You can you don't want it too perfect. It's not the tree you would have bought to decorate. You want it kind of cattywampus. But you see how pretty this tree is? And even going over that dark green, you see what happened was the snow caused, because it's wet, it caused a little bit of a shadow. Then if you dried it, you could come back over. I'm not going to dry it, but you could come back over with some white in a couple places and just allow some of that shadow, some of the snow to be in shadow and some of it not. And then you've got this, I'm just saying that here's a little, here's a little card like that.
There's a quickie.
It's a little, just a little card here, right? And then, I'm coming. I'm going to make a little card here, just real quick, you guys, right? Come on, don't we want a little card? Yes, of course we do. Of course. Who's against little cards here? Okay, so we're going to just do this like that, right? And then maybe we'll just do a little fence like that. Okay. All right, so there's our little fence. I'm just going to show you just how fast we can make a little card. Everybody's with me on this? Now, can I dry this for a second? You ready for this? You want to dry this for just 1 second? All right? Can I do that?
Yep, go.
All right.
Well, do you think it's really going to be a second? We do have another one from Tanya I would like to show. Tanya originally sent in this. I'm going to do Tanya since you're playing, so just stop for a second.
Sure.
Just stop it. So Tanya gave us this as her first of the... Who was that guy? Do you remember him? He was a dead guy.
This is one of our lessons from last week on or 2 weeks ago on YouTube. This is a easy painting, the snow cabin, you guys. You've got to try it. It's so easy, fun to do, easy peasy. Okay.
And then Ginger wrote back and said, fix these items. You see where she cut into the water a little bit, into the snow a little hard, and then make the bank. Beautiful, just adjust the snow banks is all that Ginger wanted done. And then Tanya came back with that.
It just took her probably 5 minutes to fix it. This is why I can't express enough the value of personal art coaching. And we have limited spots. I mean, at some point, there'll be a waiting list. Right now, we're still at places, can people drop in and out. But if you want some help at all, this is the thing to do. All right, now I dried my little fence. Now, you ready for this?
No, I got to clear the screen. 1 second, please. Please stand by.
Oh, did you show everybody our village before you cleared the screen?
Oh, let me show you the village.
You guys have got to see this village. I mean, this is, we did this. You know, you've seen our village. We've been talking about it, our little European village. And I had this idea of making like a, what do they call it? A
diorama.
Diorama. Where you could do this on a mantle. And we went out and bought, and I don't think we spent $20. We went out and bought miniature little tiny snowmen and little tiny Christmas trees and stuff, little pine trees and stuff you might do on a train set, or, decorations for, you ever seen those tiny little miniature Christmas trees? So we bought those, and they were just the right scale. I've got a little nutcracker, Santa Claus, some polar bears. Is this cute or what? And I'm telling you what, you can do this whole set. There's 7 of them in the set. You can set them up like this. Got some fake looking snow. Put those trees around. It makes a beautiful, beautiful decoration. And we also talked about, I don't know if we're going to do it or not, but we've entertained the idea of selling our set as it is with all the pieces. If somebody wanted to find out about that, we talked about that. We haven't, because I don't have to paint those over again, but we talked about it.
Oh, we're buffering. We buffer through that whole section. Isn't that great?
No. We're not finished with my picture.
Well, I'm going to stop the stream. And as soon as it loses it, we'll bring it back. And bringing it back now. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's causing it.
I think there's too many pictures in a picture.
No. I don't think it has anything to do with that, because before we just had the regular stuff up there. Looks like it came back a little bit back sooner.
Are we back?
Yeah. Yep, I think we're back.
So everybody got to see the diorama? Our village diorama? Everybody got to see that?
Let's just pop it up there real quick again.
All right, in case you missed this is just cute. If you haven't thought about, if you've been painting these and haven't thought about doing this, we just think this is adorable. Just such a fun idea. We're very excited about it. We think this is an absolutely adorable way to, display these nice holiday decoration. And every year we'll add more village pieces. You can have this expanded paintable village you did yourself, or do it as a gift for somebody else. You've got time.
Plenty of time. All right. Enough of that.
All right, so this is dried now. Okay, so I'm going to come back here. Now watch here. I'm going to say on my fence, I'm just using this angle brush. I'm going to just say, see right here on the fence, and maybe it's piled up here like that. And then on the top of the fence post, I've got to put my glasses on so I can see it. Kind of see that. I'm going to say there's a little plop of snow that's coming down like that on the top of each little fence post like that. Okay, with me? Cute, right? And here we go. Just a few little bits of snow like this. Okay, now I'm going to just move this all out of the way. Hang on. And then we're going to show you the toothbrush trick. I mean, I'm just saying, this is how fast it is to make like a little card for something. All right, here's a little bit of white paint and a damp toothbrush like this. And I take a little bit of water on it and then tap it off on a towel. And then I'm going to come up like this.
You're making it
And
snow.
I'm just making it snow.
Make it snow. Somebody would like to win this card tree. Are we going to give this away?
Yeah, we're going to give this one away. We're going to
What
give
do we
this
have
one
to
away.
do? What do you have to do to participate in this little giveaway?
I don't know. The first, here, this is off the top of my head. What do you think, right? Email me at contact us at gingercooklive.gallery. I will pick the 12th one to come in.
The 12th one. It's like the 12 Nights of Christmas.
Yeah, the 12th one to come in. I will sign this, and I'll give this away to somebody. And
The
just,
village sets are a 6x8 canvas.
little 6x8 canvas, but look how fast and easy that was to do that, all right?
You have a little Christmas card.
And you have a little Christmas card, and like I say, I'll sign it. And
It looks like a blizzard. Yeah, she gets a little carried away with the snow.
cook, yeah. And I'll personalize it to whoever. I'll personalize it to you. Whoever gets it, we'll just give it to you. It's a little gift for watching and for helping us get subscribers. We appreciate that very much. And you guys, if you haven't subscribed, please do, and it just kind of spread the word. This is sort of fun like that, and I think that that's a fun. I mean, look how easy it was to make that tree, and you guys can kind of see how you can, once you get this tree business down, right? You can see how easy it is to do a painting like this, and the difference between doing this tree and this tree. I mean, it's just, and now you know that you're not doing this one anymore, right? Promise? Nobody's doing that tree anymore. Also, one more thing I want to mention. This got no views, and I don't understand it. I renamed it How to Paint Angels and Fairies because this one, we put this up when we were gone. There's a traceable on our website, so it's not hard to do. And this is just reminds me of kind of Cher, doesn't it? This was originally done in 1892 by this Scottish artist who spent his whole life in Africa. And actually, when I kind of showed that on Facebook, the whole painting was about this long. You just had more dress. But even like this, I think it's pretty. This one, again, would be cute small as a card, too. Don't you think that's darling? And then, you want to see what I've been working on today? Anybody want to see what I've been working on today?
I do.
Okay, see, now, we're so far so good, but before I get farther, I'm going to show you what I've been working on. But I'm looking at this. See, acrylics dry darker, see?
Yeah, they have.
So my snow got a little dark here on me. So now all I have to do, sometimes you just have to wait. This is why it takes a while. Just have to wait. Let's just come back up with a little white
somebody
paint.
asked a question, can your lessons be done with oil?
Well, in the sense that everybody can paint with oil, but perhaps not the same way. Anything I paint with acrylics, you can paint in oil, sure. But you wouldn't paint them the same way because you've got to plan on drying time. So your stuff isn't ever drying, so you're just basically painting wet on wet all the time. So from that point, it would be a little bit more difficult. But you can see how we've got the...
Either that or get several of them going at the same time.
And now look here, I'm going to take a little bit of white now and just sort of increase some cloud cover in here like this. Like that, just by my clouds here, just right here, like that. See, and then that's our picture, and I think that's really cute, don't you?
I think it's beautiful.
I think that really came out well, and it's so easy to do. A part of me wants to come here and put a few little pine needles coming down like that, but again, you could fool around with this forever, and I'm excited to show you what I painted this today, and this is for you guys. Wanted you to see this. We're going to release this next week, right?
Is that the Monday one?
Yeah, this is next Monday.
Then that's the Monday one.
This is the Monday one, okay? And this Monday, next Monday, we're going to release this one. Because again, John and I'll probably be out of town. Won't have a live class next week. And this is in two parts. This is called Louisiana Bayou Sunset.
Oh, I thought Louisiana Sunset Bayou.
Well, either way.
No,
and then,
it can't be either way. I have to look that up.
So anyway, you've got this. It's actually a sunset with trees. And
with a mossy tree. It's scary
with these
looking
mossy trees. This is what happens, and bugs and everything live in that moss. It's disgusting stuff. But anyway, they do. If you don't want to pick that up, you get little bites and things.
Why would you be picking up the moss?
Because it's interesting. If you ever see a tree like that, the first thing you want to do is touch it. Nobody told you it was full of bugs.
I don't think I would.
Yes, you would.
Because there's little bugs and stuff rolling around in there. Why would I want to do that?
Yeah, because you didn't know that. But
I know these things.
It's a public service announcement. You don't touch that stuff. Anyway.
Public service announcement 101.
Anyway, so we put these cranes in here, which I think is lovely. But that's optional. It's a pretty picture without it, and I show you how to do that.
Oh, I like it with the birds.
I like it with the birds. I show you how to do the three birds. Show you that.
Birds.
And because we felt this was sort of getting ready for Halloween. This could be sort of, not exactly Halloween, but kind of, right? So if you're into Halloween, you guys, though, if you're into Halloween, I know some of you are already doing Halloween. If you go to our website, gingercooklive.gallery, my favorite Halloween picture is this one. We have a lesson to do that.
We do.
That's called the Pumpkin Patch Kids. These little guys are decorations. If you go anywhere in Houston and during the Halloween where people decorate, they buy these little dolls, or they make them, and every, Hobby Lobby, everybody sells them, and they decorate their whole the front porches with these, called Pumpkin Patch Kids, and they're out of straw, and they decorate them. So that's that, and we also have some smaller ones. Like that and like this. We have a whole set of these on our website for gingercooklive.gallery. And then tomorrow night, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, tomorrow night, we're going to really go into detail on how to paint pumpkins. And
Pumpkins.
kind of more realistic pumpkins. We're going to do that tomorrow night. Talk about some other stuff. Maybe do, we'll give away some more of these cards. We'll send them to somebody when we do these. We'll give these away just like we did with the, we're doing with this. This one is going to somebody tonight, the 12th. Have we had 12 emails? Can you check that? Can John check real quick?
Oh,
You
sure.
guys want to know who's going to get it? In case
people aren't going to leave the show to enter a contest.
No, of course not. So anyway, we'll be the 12th one that comes in. And I don't care where you live, we'll mail it to if you have an address. We'll put it in an envelope mail.
If you have an address. That's a valid point. They may not have an address.
Well, I mean, you may have an address, but we don't have it, it's not going to help us. So we're going to write you and tell you that you want it, and then we expect somewhere to mail it to. That's all we're saying. And we'll mail it.
Okay, we've got them in here, so I've got to now. I love it when you do these impromptu things.
I know. He hates it, doesn't he? He hates it. All right, so that's what we did. That's what's coming up next week. And for our members this week, are you guys dying while he's finding stuff? All right, you guys, if you're a member of gingercooklive.gallery and you're just really over snow now, you're thinking, there's no more snow. This is our lesson release for this week. The bridge. This is called Virginia Park. It's kind of painted the Thomas Kincaid style. This is for our members. If you want to be a member of gingercooklive.gallery, just $9.95 gets you a week. $21.95 if you're over 60 and you're a senior in the military, and and again, we do have scholarships for people, and so if you're interested, we have this is fun stuff to do, lots of beautiful paintings. So we're throwing another pitch for ourselves, besides asking you again to subscribe. All right, and this is our public service announcement. All right, what happened? What happened?
I have the 12th winner has been chosen.
The 12th winner of this, right?
You are Kathleen Brown. Come on down.
Kathleen, awesome. All right, Kathleen, write us again. You're the winner of this. Send
us back a email with your address, assuming you have an address.
Send it back. This will get varnished and sent to you, and Kathleen, I will write a personal note to you
on the back.
Right on
the back of the canvas.
All right, we're gonna start doing some of these for the holidays. You watch our shows.
You just watch and see what happens next.
Yeah, because I'm inspired here. We're gonna start doing these fun
and
little short things.
And we have a whole stack of those babies.
And we're gonna start doing these and mailing them out to our fans here, you guys. So
and we're gonna have to have a special forum because we're not gonna do it this way again.
Okay.
we need to have a little chat.
Okay.
Before we start giving the show away.
All right, that's fine.
Kathleen does have an address. She wrote, I do have an address.
Oh, perfect. Kathleen, where does Kathleen live?
Kathleen, where do you live? Just give us a ballpark. Are you in the US of A, or might you be in Australia? Which we know takes forever to get mail there. We sent...
we sent... hey, I want to shout out. I haven't heard from my friend in Australia for a while. We got a lot of them, but...
Sylvia.
I haven't heard from Sylvia in a while, but we sent her... She was Artist of the Month. Our newsletter's late, but it's coming out. We'll look for our newsletter. And I'll tell you who the new Artist of the Month is. And we sent her an imagination cloth for Artist of the Month. It took her a month, almost 6 weeks to get it.
Yeah, about 6 weeks.
It's like $25 to mail it to her. It took like 6 weeks. to get her the imagination cloth. So how is this? Where does Pam live?
Kathleen
Lives where?
Fort Worth, Texas.
Oh, this is so cool because we're at Houston. This will just be a hop, skip, and a jump. We'll mail this before we
Hop, skip, and a what?
jump.
A jump.
You
Hop,
don't
skip,
say
and
that?
jump.
Hop, skip, and a jump. Awesome. Awesome. Come on, this is fun. And all right, everybody, please,
I could drive it over to her.
don't forget to check out my Fairyland because I was so disappointed. We got hardly any views on this. I thought this was such a pretty painting. Disappointing. Yes. Anyway,
Sorry.
Kathleen, congratulations. And this is our, what do we call this? Snowy Pine? Something?
Snowy Pines.
Snowy Pine.
I call it Snowy Pine Mountain.
Yeah, well, it's
Speaking of that, you need to go back into YouTube and fix all the descriptions.
we got to fix the descriptions and all that stuff. But you can see it like that. And remember I told you how the sky got dried a little darker? Remember I told you that? And you got, one of the things that you've got to do when you're painting with acrylics is kind of let stuff dry. See where your
we're
lights and
buffering
darks
again.
are. All right, well, I guess we'll just say goodnight then. Night.
Oh man.
Say night, everybody.
Who you saying night to? Nobody's watching.
Oh.
They're gone again.
Oh.
We need to we need to maybe do what Cinnamon's doing.
Which is
What are they doing for their feed though?
I don't know.
I don't know. Is Ginger going to do the red slash through her name?
Yeah, I am.
Bring that back out.
Yeah,
We should
I
be
am.
back up in a second.
Yeah, where's my slashy thing? Where's my red slash? Yeah, I've got a, absolutely. Red slash through the name right here.
We should be back. There we
Red
go.
slash through the name on there, and let's sign this one,
Looks like you signed that one.
not this one.
Oh, I guess it was the other one.
Yeah, sign this one too. Okay, sign that one. These are signed. Absolutely, these are signed and ready to go.
Okay. Of that Posca pen that you did not put a lid back on, could you please do so and make sure it clips? Thank you.
Yeah. Are we back?
Yes, now you can say goodbye.
I was going to say goodbye. I was sorry this buffering. So I want to say goodbye to everybody. This was great fun. Thanks for playing. Again,
Thanks for playing,
watch your picture because I actually could put a few more if I wanted to take a moment. I've got a few little lighter clouds in the sky on this one that I did on this one, and I would just suggest all I would have to do is just go back over there with a little mixing
Yeah,
white.
we're buffering again.
Bye. I'm still going to do it.
Yeah.
A little mixing white and fix that. I'm sorry we're buffering again, but we're at, how many people do we have?
A peak of 306. We're still recording for our local folks. We'll put
Okay.
it on our website.
All right, so I'm going to just still put in a few of these little, just with the mixing white here, just put a few of these little wispy clouds down. This is a little transparent. Just down like this, because it did dry a little bit darker than I wanted, just using this brush like that. Just say it's a little bit lighter, and I want to come up above here like that, above my mountains. Like that, there you go, just something. It just kind of brings your eye back down when you do that.
It kind of, yeah, bring your... Is that a dark dot of paint? Oh, it's still wet. Okay.
Yeah. Gone. Okay.
All
I
right.
think we can call that. So you guys, everybody had fun with this, and I had fun teaching it. See you tomorrow.
Good night, everyone.